The Honorable Keynan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, may I also join my colleagues in commending the President for his mojo and telemastic manner in which he has approached the whole AU election this year. Madam Speaker, also allow me to appreciate the amazing gingerly approach and manner the Honorable Raila also exhibited after the loss. Madam Speaker, the Odingas have always been magnanimous and patriotic. And I want to remind Kenyans, in 1962, when the white colonialists declared Kenyatta as the leader of death and darkness, it's the Odingas who said, no internal self-rule without Kenyatta. Madam Speaker, in 1992, when Mzee Moi had a problem immediately after the election, it's the Odinga who came to the aid of Mzee Moi. In 1997, when Mzee Moi had a problem, it's the Odinga again under the Grand Corporation who again came to the assistance of Mzee Moi. In 2002, it's the Odingas who said Kipakitosha. In 2007, when we had a serious national challenge, it's the Odingas who saved this country. In 2018, it is Odinga again who joined Uhuru under the infamous handshake. In 2024, when everybody expected Kenyans to fight because of that entitlement of tribally driven, tribally centered, tribally oriented shareholding mechanism, is the Odinga who said, no, we have one country. What does all this demonstrate? That the Odingas have always been there for this country. Madam Speaker, elections, when you decide to join an election, you either lose or win. The continental politics, Madam Speaker, Kenya as a leading economic hub, as a leading diplomatic hub, we have demonstrated under the leadership of President Ruto that Kenya is not just a country per se, it's a diplomatic hub. That is why many countries decided to stick by us, to support the Honorable Odinga, and the little challenge that has assisted our colleague, our friend from Djibouti to win the election should be seen as a gain, because at the end of the day, we also live in democracy. Madam Speaker, the naysayers who are tribalists, the ethnic chauvinists, must be told in no uncertain terms that this country belongs to all of us. Their biological nationalism has no place in the modern day Kenya. They must accept this is a country of many nation states, and these nation states that have contributed in defining our national borders and our national heritage. So long as you sit somewhere and you believe in your tribal bygones, Madam Speaker, there's no time. The majority of Kenyans will live by your ideology. That ideology has been overtaken by events. I want to request His Excellency the President to work with the Honorable Odinga in determining and working out 2027 and 2032 in the future, so that at one time the Odingas also get an opportunity in the history of this country. Madam Speaker, however, there are certain things that we need to go back and determine. We need to recalibrate our foreign policy and fill the pitfalls. Because literally, we have assisted many African countries in the Horn of Africa, in the East Africa. Kenya is the only country that has not gone through militarism. We have been host to many refugees from Somalia, from Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, Southern Sudan, Ethiopia. Many countries in the region must celebrate the dynamic nature of Kenyan politics and the contribution of Kenya, not only to the continental peace and stability, but also to our democracy in the region. And this is why I expected, in the first instance, the Honorable Odinga will have won. But I think that aspect, because sometimes diplomacy is very tricky. There's something called in diplomacy, Madam Speaker, track 1 and track 2. In track 1, nations just sit on the table, discuss niceties. But in the evening, they resort to something called track 2. Track 2 is something called the ice diplomacy. You discuss it under the table, and that is what determines how you relate to the nation and other nations. Madam Speaker, this is one moment. This is a defining moment. We have learned it. We have learned it. I want to ask the managers of our foreign policy to go back to the drawing board and determine those genuine friends of the Republic of Kenya, and chart out with them an avenue, a path that will not only take care of their economic, political well-being, but will also safeguard our national pride. And this is what will help the people of Kenya. I say congratulations, President Ruto. Congratulations, Honorable Raila Odinga, for standing firm for the well-being of this country. And we, wherever we are, will support you in your endeavor to take this country and help